Hey there internet, my name's Luxander, and today we're going to be delving into the difference between bisexual and pansexual. I've noticed that there's a bit of confusion on this topic about why you would call yourself pansexual when bisexual is an available term, especially for those of you who've been following me from Jimmy's channel, Mr. Atheist. Jimmy and I both identify as pansexual, so I kind of wanted to talk about what the reasons for that are and like how it's different from being bi. There's also a couple more obscure terms that I want to be covering in this video as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. But because there's so much nuance on this topic, this is a pretty high-level discussion. I might not have the most perfect explanations for things, and a lot of these labels are really personal to people, so they might mean something different to an individual. I'm just gonna try to give like an overview of what they tend to mean. So bisexual is kind of the most common term that we have for people who are attracted to people of more than one gender. It's kind of a misconception, though, that bi means men and women. That's not what most people nowadays mean when they say that they're bisexual. There may be some people who identify as bi who exclusively mean I am attracted to both men and women and no one outside of that, but I think that that's kind of not common anymore. The way that I've heard it explained is that bi, in this case, when you're using the bi it means to thing, means I'm attracted to the same gender as me and other genders. The term bisexual is not meant to be exclusionary towards trans people or non-binary folks. Again, there might be some people who do mean it that way, but overall, bisexuality as a concept is not transphobic. And since bisexual is the term that has existed more historically, like people grew up with the term bisexual and it's the more common word in the lexicon, it's also kind of become an umbrella term for all of these different ways that you can be attracted to more than one gender. Now that I've mentioned that it's kind of an umbrella term, I want to bring up this meme, which is Hannibal Buress on the Eric Andre show, which has been memed into probably one of the most lovely memes on this topic that I've ever seen. I smiled real big when I saw it. For those of you who are just listening, it's two screenshots. In the top screenshot, there is all four of the flags for bisexual, omnisexual, pansexual, and polysexual. And in the bottom image, there's some text overlay that says, these broadly overlap, but the distinction matters to some people, and that's okay. I also bring this up because it's going to be relevant in a moment as I delve into the omnisexual and polysexual labels, but first, let's talk about pansexual. When I was young, I first started identifying as pansexual because I mistakenly believed that bi was exclusionary to trans people, but as we've just discussed, that is not a correct interpretation, so like this is what pansexual actually means. Pan refers to being attracted to people of any gender sort of regardless of their gender. A lot of the time you'll see memes that say hearts not parts because it's more about the person that you're attracted to rather than it being about their gender. Essentially it means that gender doesn't play a significant role in your attraction to people. You're attracted to the person and their gender might be like part of them as a human being, but it's not the thing you're focused in on. And some people when they say they're bisexual mean something closer to what the definition of pansexual is, but again, this term has historical meaning. Bisexual, there is a existing bisexual community throughout like the 70s and 80s, and so people grew up with that. It's a politically significant term for a lot of them. But ultimately it's okay for people to identify with whatever label they feel is best for them. It doesn't matter exactly what the specific words mean because a lot of this has broad overlap, but again, those distinctions matter to people and that's what's important. I will say for me personally, despite the fact that I've identified as pan since like 10 years ago, the whole hearts not parts thing always kind of felt weird to me because to me, the person's gender is a motivating factor in my attraction to them. It just so happens that it doesn't matter what their gender is. I'm attracted to people of any gender, but like, yes, parts, please, parts. Which I think is a good segue into one of the other terms that we're going to be discussing today. I think that I may have actually found a more accurate identity label today. As with everything, this is still a learning and growing process even for me. After like 10 years of identifying as pansexual, I may have found a more specific label that more accurately represents how I actually feel. This term is omnisexual, which is actually, it's got a lot of overlap with pansexual, but some of the things that I was reading indicated that that distinction that I have of like, oh no, your gender is part of why I'm attracted to you. I enjoy the parts associated with you. So omnisexual seems to basically mean that you're attracted to people of any gender, but their gender is a factor in how and why you're attracted to them. It just so happens that you can be attracted to anyone of any gender, but it's not irrelevant or it's not regardless of their gender in the way that pansexual is. But again, these two labels are really close to each other. So yeah, I think that I'm omnisexual, but I'm probably still going to use the label pansexual because as with people who identify with bisexual, pan is becoming a more understood term and it's more useful when I'm communicating. And the fact that communication is a two-way street is why I have not gone back to identifying as bisexual. I did when I was younger, because to me it seems like when you are communicating with someone, if there's someone outside of the community, if you say bi, what people are mostly going to hear is I'm attracted to men and women, and I don't want to give that impression. So I've stuck with pansexual throughout the years because it just seems like it's a way of communicating that I am attracted to anyone of any gender, and that it's not creating this false idea of a binary within people's minds when I say it. And the last term that I want to discuss is polysexual. This is not the same as polyamorous. Polyamorous is when you have a relationship style that includes having multiple relationships at varying degrees of intimacy with more than one person, but that's not an orientation label that we're talking about right now. Polysexual just means that you're attracted to two or more genders, but this might not mean the same thing that it means to the other identity labels. Like a polysexual person might be attracted to women and non-binary people. So they're attracted to two or more genders, but it's not like regardless of gender, and it's not men and women. So as you can see, a lot of these labels have some kind of overlapping meanings, but there are a lot of very high-level nuanced distinctions between them. And I hope that me talking through the different reasons that I identify with certain labels and not other ones can make you kind of understand why people may choose to get a little bit more specific with their identity labels rather than just going for the more broad, general umbrella label of bisexual. So just to recap, bisexual means that you're attracted to the same gender as you and other genders. Pansexual means that you're attracted to people regardless of their gender. Omnisexual means that you are attracted to people of any gender, but that their gender is a factor for you. And polysexual means you're attracted to two or more genders, and it's not exactly the same definition as the other terms that we've discussed. I hope that's clarified things for you somewhat. If you have any additional questions, feel free to leave them for me in the comments, or if you have any corrections that you want to let me know about, you can also feel free to let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you watching. Again, I hope that this helped somewhat. If you liked this video, please give me pretty analytics to look at and comments to read. Find me on Patreon, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, and I really hope that you have an okay day. Bye! It's time to thank my patrons: David Walter, Amber Music, Jenny Swindles, Gretchen Becker, Wellington Marcus, PNW Atheist Elizabeth, Pine Snake, Alex Padilla, Misty, and Zendrex. $10 a month to get your name read out, $1 a month to get on the text list. Check me out on Patreon if you feel like it. Boop-a-doop boop boop.